When it comes to porn, are you stuck, spinning out, or slipping backwards in your life? If so, then welcome to the Finding Traction podcast, a show dedicated to those who are looking to gain recovery momentum away from porn and toward the life and relationships they have always hoped for. Now, here's your host, Vern Tomke.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Finding Traction podcast. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. I want to just say this. I listened to an interesting interview with Russell Brand, and he talked about how porn sucked the life and joy and passion out of him. And, it's so true. And one of the reasons we want to walk away from things like porn is we want to enjoy life and all of the other things that are available to us and things that we found perhaps pleasure and joy in at different parts of our life. One of the things that I find pleasure and joy in is football, NFL football in particular. And I know if you're outside of North America, that might be a little bit outside of your area. But let me just say, today is going to be a fun podcast because we're going to do something completely different. We're going to, I called up one of my buddies, Matt Dobschutz from Porn Free Radio, and I said, hey, we should do a NFL preview podcast. I know you're passionate about the Bears, and I know you're passionate about other things, but why don't we just rip on NFL football and we'll record it, and anybody wants to hear our thoughts can be a part of that. So he said, let's do it. And he said, I also got another guy called Chris Pavone, who's an old WWE wrestler who's also a coach, has the Chris Pavone Show. And why doesn't he join us as well? He's a Browns fan. Matt's a Bears fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. So enjoy this episode. It really doesn't have anything to do with recovery other than this is the things you can become excited about when you've moved past porn. So I hope you enjoy this episode. One of the things I haven't done a very good job of is, letting people know how they can connect with me. So my new email is bandofbrothers.care@gmail.com. And I know if you're really an offended Philadelphia Eagles fan or a Packers fan, you might want to send me some nasty emails. Also, the website is bandofbrothers.care. That you can get a hold of me, and that's how people connect with me for individual and group coaching. So all of that is preview. Matt did a great job in hosting the podcast, so he shared it with us to share with our audience, and he did a great job editing him. So great thanks to Matt for all the sound effects. So enjoy the 2021 NFL preview.
Porn Free Radio.
Well, welcome to the Porn Free Radio NFL Preview Podcast with Vern Tomke, Chris Pavone, and your host, Matt Dobschutz. All right, welcome in, guys. We've got Vern, we got Chris, and of course, your host, Matt Dobschutz. Now, for those of you who are listening, we are going to have fun now. I have a quote from another coach who says, success comes from 50% recovery work and 50% kicking ass in life. And so I think this is the kicking ass part of our show here. We're going to just talk about some fun, have fun talking about NFL this year. And I know there's a lot of listeners who are outside of the U.S., so we're going to try to explain a couple things here or there about teams. You might be a little lost. It's okay. We're just going to have fun. We're not going to get too deep. So I'm going to welcome in our guest coaches today. We have Vern Tomke from the Finding Traction podcast, and we've got Chris Pavone from chrispavone.com, who's also a coach and had a podcast that I think is on hiatus right now. Is that right, Chris?
Yeah, it's
Correct. It's evergreen content. So I still pay to host it, which, by the way, Matt, thanks for letting me know I didn't have to pay the full amount if I'm not uploading new stuff. So I adjusted that. So it is still available. Yeah, it's uplifting, positive, encouraging content. The Chris Pavone Show.
Yeah, for sure.
Podcast app.
Yeah, great podcast. And Vern, Finding Traction, tell us a little bit about that.
The whole thing is around helping guys walk away from porn in their lives, but more importantly, towards life and relationships they've always wanted, so that they can devote more time to things like sports. And let me just say, to quote Newt Gingrich, a good American politician, he says, "Politics is war." Now, I want you to know that sports is war. You guys better bring your A game here, not bringing a knife to a gunfight here, because this is, we're not holding back here.
Well, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, I agree. In my life, as a coach, what I help people with, but how I want to live. I want to be resentment free. I don't want to hold on to, I don't want to be petty. All that goes out the window. I always say in sports, it's allowed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't have any problem being petty. I was thinking last year, so we're going to introduce the teams that we root for in just a second. But I will say that I was talking to Vern in email, and he was very chippy about his team last year and very, very excited. And he was very down on my team. And then when my team made the playoffs and his team did not, this is what I heard. It was like crickets in my email. He got all quiet, no response for weeks. I think it was maybe February when you finally reemerged and sent me an email, or March.
I was in trauma counseling.
Right. All right. So why don't we go around, do a little round robin, and introduce the team that you root for. And Vern had this great question: how true are you? He said, how did you become a fan of this team? And how can you prove to the other guys that you're not just a fair weather fan? So we'll start with you, Vern.
Yeah, I know I got to work hard at this, because it's not like if you're a Browns fan, you've got to prove to people that you're true, because we've won 5 Super Bowls. So it would be easy to see us as a fair weather fan. I'm a Canadian guy that's nowhere near Dallas. At 12 years of age, I picked up a comic called Tom Landry and the Dallas Cowboys. And I started watching them. My very first memory is Roger Staubach throwing the Hail Mary pass to Drew Pearson. And that's my very first football memory. So I was hooked. As an 18-year-old, now, for the record, if you're watching, you can't see this unless you're seeing YouTube. I am showing here a picture that I took 42 years ago of Tom Landry when I traveled to the Cowboy Stadium, the original Cowboy Stadium, and took this picture of Tom Landry. I also took pictures of cheerleaders, but that, of course, would not be appropriate on this podcast. But that was my claim to fame. And I have been with them ever since, when we went through, early Troy Aikman with 2 wins and all the losses. I haven't won a Super Bowl. I haven't won one since 1995. That's 25 plus years. I've been true through the whole time. I am a true blue fan, and ups and downs, so I think I've showed my bona fides.
Definitely. He actually held up a picture of the Hall of Fame coach, Tom Landry, who I remember, did he always have a hat on?
Always had a hat on.
Like a fedora?
In fact, in the Ring of Honor, you see a picture of the hat beside Tom Landry.
Yes. So, okay. All right. So I see that. So now let's welcome in Chris Pavone. Chris, what team do you support? And, how true of a fan are you?
Yes. And I just want to say to you, this is such a fun topic. I'm so glad we're doing this. And Matt, thanks for putting this together. And Vern, thanks for organizing the, great questions we're going to look at. And and Vern, you touched on this, right? Meaning you said you kind of have to prove yourself. How true am I? It speaks for itself. I'm a Browns fan. However, I have thought of this. And since they are, I'm going to say, legitimately trending up, I've thought about that. Is there ever going to be a time in the future where I'm going to have to maybe prove, right? Like, if I would ever be accused of being a fair weather Browns fan, if that ever were to happen, I'll be prepared for that. And so the way I became a Browns fan, I'm from Youngstown, Ohio. Youngstown's interesting because we're right on the border of Pennsylvania. So Youngstown is right in the middle of Pittsburgh and Cleveland, and huge rivalry. So the Browns and the Steelers are rivals anyway. Huge rivalry in Youngstown amongst the fans, because there are some people in Youngstown that are Pittsburgh fans, Pitts puke, as we say. And the sentiment there is, you live in Ohio, man. Oh, sure. Jump on the bandwagon of the team that's, been doing good the last 20 years. But anyway, I grew up as a fan. My dad got me into it. My dad to this day is a diehard Browns fan. My dad had season tickets for a lot of years. And I started going when I was about 10 years old in old Cleveland Municipal Stadium. If you know much about that old, this is in the era of all these franchises were getting new stadiums. That was built in the 1920s, I'm pretty sure. And I started going when I was 10 with my dad. And this is how you become a fan, right? My dad and all the other adult male figures in my life, my uncle, my dad's friends. And man, you go to this, and I got in right at the tail end of the Browns, playoff success of the late 80s of Bernie Kosar. And there was a little bit of a down year. And then, when Belichick came in, they were rebuilding, and, 1994, they were good again and won a playoff game. And then they ended up moving the team, but that's a whole thing in itself. And they came back in 1999, and at that time had moved from Ohio and was living in Louisville, Kentucky. But I always remained a Browns fan. And you just stick with your team. And it wasn't until probably Matt, this, and I when I've been on the show before, we talked about this. My former career as a professional wrestler, when I was wrestling, you were traveling a lot of times on Sundays. So for several years there in the 2000s, I couldn't see a lot of the games, but the Browns were always my team. And then it wasn't until I got out of wrestling, and we have more connection today, right? Meaning I started streaming ESPN 850, WKNR out of Cleveland on my computer. Now it's on my phone. I started attending a Browns backers bar in 2010. And I would say that's when my love was like even more, with re-energized, I guess you could say, because now I had access to the Browns on a weekly basis, which I couldn't get for a long time. And they didn't win a lot of football games.
I was going to say my brother, I almost said brother-in-law. My brother married a Browns fan. She was like, she was like the president of the Browns backers. And he had one question for Chris, which I think you passed this test. What did you do the 3 years when they moved the team out of Cleveland?
Yeah.
Who did you root for? There's only one acceptable answer for a Browns fan.
So, well, I guess I'm assuming you're talking about the Buffalo Bills.
No one.
Oh, okay.
The NFL didn't exist for 3 years.
That's exactly right. That was going to be my answer. The only reason I mentioned the Bills was because they were one of the teams that had like a Browns backer support at their tailgates. The Steelers actually came and stood up for us. The fans protested on Monday Night Football. They all turned their backs at halftime. All right. And the cameras wouldn't pick it up. But I didn't root for anybody. I didn't watch football. And plus I was 15, 16. I was worried about my girlfriend that broke up with me, Mary Rish.
Right. Well, guys, I'm gonna share a little bit about my story. I mean, I'm sure the audience maybe doesn't know this, but I root for a team from a city that starts with a C and ends with an O and has a hick hog in the middle. Of course, I'm talking about the beloved The Bears. So, but I came to Bears fandom a little late in life. I didn't become a Bears fan until I was 12. And the reason why I was born in the South. And so NFL football kind of existed. I remember like reading Sports Illustrated. There was a team in Pittsburgh that won 4 Super Bowls. And so I kind of was passively interested in them, because everyone sort of talked about them. And no one in Florida ever watched the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were absolutely awful. Right. And in Miami, when you live in Central Florida, Miami doesn't even exist. It's like a different state. So you would never go for Miami. There was no Jacksonville Jaguars. Even if there was, who I don't know anyone who would go for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Even now, I think they're kind of a little bit of a train wreck. So,
unless you wanted to sit in the pool or something and watch them.
Right. So I really didn't have a team. I did collect football cards. And so, of course, I knew about Walter Payton, who was like this Hall of Fame running back. And so, I liked him. We moved here when I was 12. And so I, started watching for the first time when I was about 12. And it just turned out that was the first couple of years of Ditka coaching. We assembled arguably the best defense of all time. And so I just kind of thought, well, man, this is just who we are. We're just winners here. So, so I would say I started off a little bandwagony in the sense that I just got here and they just started playing great. And I just thought this is how it was going to be for the rest of my life. Now, I think where I've started proving myself, and I was thinking about how I could prove that I was a real Bears fan is we've had some really disgusting seasons since we won the Super Bowl. And we even went back to the Super Bowl in the last, 10 years or so and lost to, 10 years, 15 years, we lost to Peyton Manning. So Peyton Manning won his first Super Bowl against us, which was kind of painful. So we have had a little bit of success in the last 15 years, but we've had a lot of trouble, especially at one position, the quarterback position. So I thought maybe a couple of ways that I could just show my fandom. I didn't look any of this up. I just wanted to name some of our great quarterbacks of the last 15, 20 years. Do you guys remember Jonathan Quinn?
No.
Do you remember Cade McNown? Anybody?
No.
Rex Grossman?
I remember him.
Heard of him, but he was no good.
Antoine Randall L?
No.
I actually do remember that name. I don't know much about him.
I am not looking at notes. These are just random people that are just falling into my brain as I'm talking. Jim Miller? Anybody? The great Jim Miller? Now
Andy Dalton, you ever heard of him?
Yeah, I have heard of him. What is it called? The red rifle or something?
Red rocket or something.
Red
rifle. No,
I was listening to Colin Cowherd the other day. He said he should be called the beige water pistol. So anyway, so we've had a horrible run at the quarterback position, and so that's what I would say. So I've followed. One last thing I'd say is my wife married me, and we actually went to the playoffs the first year. This is, I think, 99. We went to the playoffs and played the Eagles, and so it was a good season. And the next season we came back and we didn't have a great season, and I was kind of down on the team. I was kind of complaining a little bit, and my wife made brunch plans after church with some friends, and she goes, "Hey, we're going out with Charles and Darylyn, and we're going to have brunch." And I said, "No, I'm watching the Detroit Lion game today. What are you talking about?" And she goes, "Oh, well, you said they were doing bad this year." I go, "I still watch all the games." And this is before TiVo. So TiVo actually saved my marriage because I was able to, delay start. And, even now, though, I still have to really be careful because when I'm coaching on Monday nights and the Bears are playing, I have to airplane everything because I get so many texts from friends. So I have to be very careful. So, all right, well, let's get into the first question. And it's going to be for Vern. And this is the question.
Cowboys.
What's the
all right? Thank you, Jimmy Johnson. That was great. I want to go back to a Thin Lizzy in the 70s. They had a great song that said "The boys are back in town," and let me just say this: the Cowboys are back. Dak is back.
They also had a great song called "Jailbreak," which different points. At different points worked for your team too.
Oh my goodness. So let me just say, Dak is back. You have got three of the best receivers in football. The offensive line, guys who are hurt, are back. They have totally remade their defense. They got 15 new players. 8 of them they drafted. 7 of them you say, well, they were obviously really crappy last year. But trust me, last year we had Andy Dalton as our quarterback when Dak went down. I know we'll hear that name again somewhere in this conversation. He will not take you to the promised land. And as a result, what happened was last year we collapsed. But this year, our defense is strong. Dak is back. Our offense is amazing. The Cowboys get all sorts of attention, like they're on Hard Knocks this year. But they get
is that a curse that they're on the HBO Hard Knocks show?
Well, that's what they're claiming. I don't buy it.
I remember the Browns were on Hard Knocks a few years ago.
That's true, but
you know who hasn't been on Hard Knocks?
Stop Bears. Stop Bears.
So I just want to say the Cowboys are back. Dan Quinn is going to have a great defense. They have them.
No relation to Jonathan Quinn, the great Chicago Bears quarterback.
There we go. Now look at this. They have the Cowboys on something ranked 20th, just behind 19th, which was the Bears, which is that is so wrong. The Cowboys are a top 10 team. I want to say that. The Cowboys are a top 10 team, and they're going to be the surprise of the year. I just want to say that their offense is back. Their defense is going to be really strong this year. So anyways, how about them Cowboys? I feel great about them
Cowboys.
Okay. Well, that is a very, that is a very, whatever you call it, a great summation of the outlook of the Cowboys. Okay. All right. So in Cleveland, before games, on the Jumbotron, they do this every game. They do what's called a dog check. So we're going to do a dog check, and then we're going to do a dog check with Chris Pavone here. So here we go. Woof. You got to do the woof. Okay, one more time. Woof. All right, Chris, give us that dog check.
Yeah.
And what is the significance of the dog, by the way?
Yeah, great question. So the Browns, I'll say it really quickly. Andrew, I think, got the hat from Paul Brown. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but the Browns, for as bad as they've been all these years, they're one of the thing I always felt we had going for us was we're one of the bedrock franchises, and they have 10 NFL championships. 8 for NFL, and then American League, the American League 2.
Is that like pre-World War I or something?
That's what people, right? That was 1964 was their last championship. 2 years before the Super Bowl. It's the same thing, but just different name.
The good old number 64 Browns. No one will forget them.
That's the only thing we had to go on for years. And then they were kind of bad in the 70s, and their reemergence in the 80s as a true contender. Hanford Dixon and Frank Minifield were the two top shutdown corners, and they started calling the secondary. They go, "This is our yard. We're the dogs in this yard." And then the famous or the infamous dog pound. The way that came about was the Municipal Stadium. Those were the cheap seats, poor man seats, and they were just bleachers, and that's where all the fanatics. And it was just really great organic thing that happened, and they've been the dogs ever since.
So Chris, I want to know, are these like pit bulls or are these like labradoodles?
Apparently they're just the dogs.
Yeah.
It could be a mean labradoodle.
By the way, it's dog, DAWG. So I don't think a labradoodle is ever called a dog, DAWG.
There was this was true. There was these guys that used to bring a dog house into the stadium, and there was a keg inside.
I love
That's
it.
back when you could do that.
I love it. That's awesome.
That's how they roll. Yeah.
All right. So what's the outlook for the dogs this year? Did you guys make the playoffs last year? I don't remember. I don't think so. Right?
Yeah. No, they did, and it was very significant too. And I'll mention that, and I'll just really quickly go back to another reason prove my fandom was, we sat through 0-16 and 1-31, Hugh Jackson's record.
Wow.
So if you go back to 2018, they're coming off a 1-15 year And I'm sorry, they're coming off 0-16. They went 1-15, 0-16. We got John Dorsey, a new GM. They draft Baker Mayfield. And that year, at the mid part of the season, they fire Hugh. Freddie Kitchens, who was became the offensive coordinator. He was the offensive coordinator. The last half of the season, Baker really thrived. They went 5-3. Almost made the playoffs, but didn't. Almost doesn't count. So
Freddie Kitchen looked like a streets and sands worker in in the Cuyahoga River or something,
and we all fell in love with him. So Freddie gets promoted, never been a head coach.
He had mustard on his shirt at one point as he was coaching.
Probably that sounds about right. In 2019, there's all this hype. We get OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., all this hype around the Browns, and it was all hype. As the 2019 season unfolded, the game I knew Freddie Kitchens didn't know what he was doing was we were playing Seattle. The Browns were up by 2 touchdowns, I think it was, before the half. We have the ball. We also have Nick frickin' Chubb. Instead of running the ball, Freddie, pass. Baker gets picked off. The Colts go down and score. All right, get the F out of this half. Wow. Run the ball. Nope. Pass. Oh, turnover again. The Colts go back and score. I was like, and then he, at the press conference, I remember he held to his guns and was like, I was trying to get ahead. And so anyway, that's when I started to think, I don't think this guy knows what he's doing. That year that year hurt the most, I think, because they had all this talent for the first time in a long time.
We had one of those last year. Trubisky, third down, he just had to hand the ball off, and they decided to try to throw a pass, and he gets sack fumble, give up the ball, and then we lose the game.
Oh, yep.
And it was like a minute left. All we had to do was run the ball, punt.
Yeah. So anyway, Freddie gets fired. So it's like last year, 2020, here we go again. Everybody's kind of just like Kevin Stefanski. We really don't know much about him. And Browns get blown out in the opener by the Ravens. Now they didn't have an off season really because of COVID, but damn, here we go again.
Right.
And then, man,
family show, Chris. Be careful.
Yeah.
I know you're a Browns fan, so you're used to swearing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I don't cuss a lot, but when I'm talking football. So, sorry. Next week, they'll come out against the Bengals. They win. Wow, okay. They win the following week. They beat the Colts. They're 4-1. And it just, after the Tennessee Titans game last year where they just whooped the Titans, I thought, whoa, this might be legit. And then, Matt, to your question about the playoffs, wait,
the what?
Playoffs?
Oh, I love that. Are you kidding me? That's what I'm
playoffs. Talk about playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
I love that. That's so good. So everything's rolling along. Last year, it's a tight race. They're going to make the playoffs, and the night before the Jets game, their entire receiver corps gets COVID. Baker goes out there with some guys he doesn't know. They lose to the Jets. Oh crap! Now we might not make the playoffs. They beat Pittsburgh the next week, get in the playoffs. So now we got to play Pittsburgh in the playoffs. Oh, another COVID outbreak. Your coach can't be at the game, and there's a handful of the starters that can't come. Oh, and by the way, you can't practice all week. Great, man. They had not won a playoff game since 94. They have not won a road playoff game since 67. They have not won in Heinz Field since 2003. They accomplished all of that. And not only that, they whooped the Steelers, made Big Ben cry. The show went off the air with Ben Roethlisberger crying.
That's got to feel good.
Oh, man, that was like exercising a bunch of demons, right? And I think it meant so much more, right, for Baker and the team to go in there and do that. And so
for the listeners at home, Chris Pavone he's just rattling this off like he's not. It's almost like he's like Rain Man with all this stuff. Like hey, remember the fourth quarter of the game against the Saints? It's like, what is he talking? Like, hey, Chris, no one on this call watched the Browns like you did last year.
Right? Yeah, that's true. That's right. So coming into this year,
you win for detailed fandom. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, there's passion there, right? So going into this year with the full off season, this hasn't happened in years. The entire offense is back. Our defense needed upgraded. We got much like the Cowboys. We got 9 new potential starters on defense. We got Myles Garrett returning. So
that's
there's
the
hype
guy.
around
That's
the
the guy who
Browns
turned his helmet into a club and hit the.
that was the Freddie
hit
Kitchens
the Pittsburgh.
year.
Hit the Pittsburgh.
I mean,
quarterback.
Myles Garrett could be the defensive player of the year. The guy's a stud.
Yeah, he is. And so we there's hype this year again. This time it's legit, but I love Stefanski's message, the head coach. He tells the guys all the time, last year don't mean nothing. Right? You got to do it again. So
all right. So it sounds like you're on the road to the playoffs. That's what I'm hearing in your summation here. All right,
we're a group of winners, Matt. I want you to know that. So bring it home. Tell me how you can join our group in the playoffs.
Well, we did make the playoffs last year also. So we were 8-8 with Mitch Trubisky as our quarterback, and he didn't even play the whole season. I think he got hurt a couple times. He actually played okay at different points, except for, of course, the fumble where he cost the game. I don't totally blame him. I want to know how we had a scheme where he thought to drop back and throw a pass. That wasn't his call, I'm sure. So anyway, this year we return a great defense, and I feel like we have a new defensive coordinator, and I think it's going to be a little new of the old. I feel like he's going to get back to our Vic Fangio defense. He's going to, they're making a big deal about turnovers again, which we've been known for forever. That's kind of like a staple of our defense. So I feel like he's getting back to that. And I'm obviously the biggest offseason move for us was drafting Justin Fields from Ohio State, the fastest quarterback ever in the combine. And
so play the guy.
Yeah, well, so I don't know what the deal is with the Andy Dalton thing. I feel like they want to try to bring him up slowly or something, but we'll see. I kind of feel like the one good thing we have going for us is our management and our coach are on the hot seat. So, so the Red Rocket is not going to he's going to be on a short leash. I'm pretty sure. Is it Red Rocket? Is that his name? I don't even know.
Yeah, that's what they call him. The guy's not taking you to the promised land. I can tell you that, Matt.
Well, you know what? I looked at his numbers from even last year. His numbers were comparable to good quarterbacks in our league. So it's not like he can mine the store. So right. And he doesn't turn the ball over a lot. So there is something about that. So we'll see, and hopefully they can bring this kid up kind of slowly and ease him in. I don't necessarily want the Patrick Mahomes thing where he gets sit on the bench for 16 games, or I think he played one game at the end of his rookie season.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. And you think the leash is short on Dalton, Matt? But
I think the leash is short because of the hot seat. Like if we, for example, if we dropped a couple of games, or if the Packers beat us again, I think those are the kind of things that would, accelerate, like, let's get Fields in kind of thing. And I'm sure, and we love quarterback controversy here. Like it is because we've always had such bad quarterbacks. We're always, the joke here is the most popular guy on the Bears is the backup quarterback.
They said that exact same thing in Cleveland for years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So do I think we're going to make the playoffs?
Playoffs?
I definitely think we're going to make the playoffs. And, we're going to get into this a little bit in the next question, I think. And I have doubts about another team in our division that, gets touted a lot as being the best team in our division, but seems like there was a lot of off-season chaos. And so I think we got a good shot at getting back to the playoffs, and especially if we improve our record. I think this quarterback potentially, maybe gets us another couple wins. I'd love it if we, is there 17 games now? Am I wrong about this?
17. Yep.
Yeah. So we could potentially go 11-6
or 6. Yeah.
Okay, or 12-5 is that? I mean, it's so I don't even know how we're gonna think about that other game. So, because it used to be like, oh, okay, 10-6 gets in the playoffs usually, but now does it? Does 10-7 get in the playoffs? I don't know.
It's crazy. Yeah, the division matters. The Browns were 11-5, finished third in their division last year.
Oh,
Isn't that
man,
wild?
that's you guys had a great division last year. All right, so the next question is. Your pain brings me pleasure. Maybe you could set this one up, Vern. You wrote this question.
Well, I mean, here's the whole idea. We all try to be better men. That's kind of what our podcasts are all about. But when it comes to sports, I mean, you got to have somewhere where you channel those really dark emotions towards, those ones that you don't like to talk about. There's that great German word, Schadenfreude, which says, I take pain in your pleasure. When it comes to sports, man, I forget being a follower of Jesus, forget any sort of spiritual component in my life. Man, I just loathe certain teams, loathe certain players, and I just cannot handle it. So for me, I mean, it always has to start with Philadelphia. I mean, Philadelphia is just nasty. Their fans are nasty. They throw snowballs at Santa. They're always bragging that, their offensive line's better, that, Wentz was better than Prescott. I have a loathing on for Philadelphia, Eagles. And that's part of the division, right? And this year is going to be great because their team's just going to be crap. They're going, it is. They're going to go for number one quarterback next year in the draft, which this is going to be a ongoing pleasure for me this year.
Now the Eagles, I know that you kind of have some animosity towards the Eagles. Now, historically, wasn't it more the Redskins that kind of gave you a run for your money at different points?
The Redskins, the Cowboys, Redskins.
Did they make the playoffs last year? I can't remember.
They did. They got a great coach. Yes, they did. Okay, Dak was hurt. Okay, he broke his leg. We only had Andy Dalton. Remember that name? That's all we had. And I don't like Seattle Seahawks
for you British listeners, Andy Dalton was the backup quarterback in Dallas last year, and now he's on the Bears, and he's theoretically our backup, but he's going to start because we have a rookie.
And Chris was talking about your division. The Cowboys are in a horrible division if you're not a big football fan. So the Cowboys only have to win 50% of their games, and they're probably going to make the playoffs, unlike Chris's division. But I don't like Washington. I don't like New York, but I don't like Seattle because they're right next to us. And I have all these fans, that I go to church with, and they're just annoying. They think because they won, a Super Bowl that they're a dynasty. It's just like, oh, give me a break.
Your Schadenfreude knows no bounds.
You're
jumping to Seattle. You're Philadelphia. All the teams in your division.
My wife says to me, like, can you not just like just one other team so you're not so demoralized when your team wins? And I said, then I'm not a true fan. Then I don't fit that first question. I'm not a true blue fan. Of course I can't like any other team, but there's some teams that I have a special thing for. Okay. So how about you guys?
How about Chris?
Yeah. I love this question. So for me, it'd definitely be the Pittsburgh Steelers. And to an extent, the Baltimore Ravens. They're both in our division. And the Ravens, especially because, they were the former Browns. So when the Ravens won the 2000 Super Bowl, there were still a bunch of core players on that team that were part of the 1995 Browns. So it's just like, oh, you jerks. Pittsburgh, though, probably the worst. And I know what you mean. You're saying, Vern, about it's not just the team, it's their fan base too, right? And Pittsburgh fans, very arrogant.
White towels. You don't like those white towels, Chris?
Oh, the terrible towels. Awful. And the other thing,
the yellow towels.
Yeah, they're yellow. Yeah. The terrible towels.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The white towel. Yeah.
And then, we've been beat up on by those two teams.
That's what you guys were waving at the end of last year, Vern.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
We've been beat up by these teams for so long, in your own division. And so for years, and this isn't that fun, but this is the only Schadenfreude. This is how we would we would do it. The Browns were always eliminated from the playoffs in like week 9. So it then shifted to you root to see Pittsburgh lose.
Yes.
Right. You want to see them not make the playoffs. So that's why it was so satisfying that last playoff game I mentioned last year where, the cameras picked Roethlisberger, on the bench crying. And I don't know if you guys saw this. It was huge here in Cleveland. TikTok Juju, said in a press conference that week, they asked him something like
Smith-Schuster. It's his real name. You're not demeaning him or something, calling him a nickname.
Correct.
He's a wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes. In the week leading up to that playoff game, they asked him, something like the Browns have gotten better. Do you take that into consideration? He said, nah, the Browns is the Browns. And
oh
wow.
Oh man, I tweeted a picture of him that after the game with the score on the bottom of the screen, and he was just sitting on the bench looking off into space, and I tweeted, the Browns is the Browns. That was so satisfying. And every now and then too, it's fun to get in on these like debates on Twitter, and I'll talk some smack to Pittsburgh fans. I'll get in there and I'll say stuff like, don't worry guys, you had your run, because that's Pittsburgh fans go to that. They talk about the rings, and I say, hey, you had your run. You have plenty of time while you guys suck to reminisce about the good old days. We did that in Cleveland for years, talking about Paul Brown, autogram.
Wow.
and their response is always, you Browns fans are delusional. You win one playoff game and you think you're going to the Super Bowl. I say, hey, just watch what happens.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, it's no secret that I have one team that I cannot stand. I actually get PTSD. I'm not joking. When I go to Wisconsin and see Green Bay Packers gear, and I have to remind myself, I have a little mantra that I say to myself, calm down. It's okay. You're in Wisconsin where Packer fans live. This is where they live. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. You can be okay. Because literally I will see Packers gear and I have this emotional, visceral reaction. And so I have to, if I go to Wisconsin, which I do a couple times a year, I just was up there 2 weeks ago. It's like I have to kind of remind myself that this is where they live and they like this team. It goes all the way back on Monday Night Football in one of our great seasons. There was a player for the Packers who, now I'm forgetting his name. I can't believe I forgot his name because we hated him forever. He had a list of numbers on his towel, and one of them was number 9, who was Jim McMahon, our starting quarterback, and he had this hit list. The play was over. They whistled it dead. He just tackled McMahon, and put him out, and he was out for a couple games. And Charles, gosh, I can't believe I forget his name, and I'm not going to look it up. If I was at a bar right now, I'd just say, don't look it up. Let's just try to remember.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, that's the kind of thing, and when we play each other, it's just, a lot of times we had a lot of bad Bears teams. So, you just look at these 2 games when we play the Packers and this is it.
My wife, a couple of years ago, she thought, well, maybe I should get into football, do the wife husband shared interest thing. And I says, okay, well, you don't have to, I do give you agency over your own choices. You don't have to be a Cowboy fan. She says, I really like those cheese things that they wear on their heads. I'm going to go for that team. And then she started going for that team. That was the year that quarterback that we're talking about, who will not be named, in Dallas, threw the pass, that got them to the 40-yard line, right at the sideline, and then they kicked a field goal to win the playoff game. That was the year my wife decided to be that team's fan. I says, no more.
Wow.
You don't need to watch football with me.
So I can't. This is how much of a hater I am. They made the Super Bowl mid '90s, and they were playing Denver Broncos. They're actually playing one of those John Elway teams, and I just thought they were going to win. I thought the Packers were going to win, and I didn't want to sit watching the Super Bowl and watch them win. So I went to the Titanic with my wife. You know, the movie with the boat.
Yeah.
And
Yep, I saw it when I was a junior in high school.
Yeah, I went with my wife to that, and I went to the bathroom at one point, and the usher gave me the score, and the Broncos were winning, and I realized, oh my gosh, I lost a chance to watch the Packers lose on national TV. So now I just root for them to have the biggest collapse on the biggest stage possible. So if they do make the playoffs, I'm like, okay, let's run it to the NFC Championship, to the Super Bowl, and then really fall apart. That's my goal. That's my hope.
Chris, I'll have you know, in one of our other podcasts, me and Matt had to have this discussion. How do you actually coach guys? For me, it was who are Philly fans, and for Matt, it was Packers fans. And we talked about having to put aside all of it's like politics, right? There's no left or right when we're doing our recovery coaching. It's the same with sports. We put that all aside for the greater good. We're very mature about it.
Yeah, we have to serve the client. And I've had as many as 3 Packer fans in a Rev group, and they were giving me crap during their check-ins. Like they're like, this is what I did this week, guys, and this is what I was doing in recovery. By the way, the Packers won. You know, like, and I can't say anything,
right?
Because I'm the coach. There was one guy who was really talking up the Packers, and I turned off my camera, and I had a Khalil Mack jersey like off camera, and I put it on and then turned it back on. Finish your check-in. You know?
Yeah.
So anyway, but all right, well, let's get to a couple more of these questions. I'm sure the audience is like, you know, just riveted with our commentary here. Well, let's see. Let's go to this next question. Okay, this is this question. We're going to call this "You Like That."
You like that? You like that?
Now, what?
These sound clips are the best.
So, just, you know, your wife Vern challenged you to pick another team that you might passively root for, and it's not going to take away. This isn't a scarcity mentality. It won't take away from your love, your all-in love for the Cowboys. Pick an AFC team that you could root for all the way to the Super Bowl when, you know, maybe
those are hard. You know what? It's not. You're right. Passively is a really important word you use, and it's really disliked the least. I'm going to say the Buffalo Bills, because we've already beat them twice in the Super Bowl, so it's time for some crumbs to go to them. You know, fair enough. Buffalo, you know what? They're okay. They're close to the border, and a lot of Toronto fans go down there. So yeah, that's okay. I could handle the Buffalo Bills.
You like that?
Barely.
You like that?
Okay, the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills. That's a good choice. They're playing the Bears on Saturday in a preseason game, so we'll get to see what they look like. I do think they have some great talent on that team, so
they do. It's
not a bad AFC choice. What about for you, Chris? NFC now. So just again, if we still have any listeners outside of the United States listening, there's 2 big divisions. There's the NFC and the AFC. American Football League Conference and the National Football League Conference, right? Is that the 2? And so they there's sometimes some inter league play, but at the end in the Super Bowl they always take the NFC champion and the AFC champion and put them together. So we're picking basically a team in another division that doesn't really affect our playoff chances. So Chris, go ahead. AFC or NFC team.
Yeah, in Vern, I relate a lot to just how you worded it, and so this was actually kind of easy for me because, and maybe I'll have to prove it's not fair weather. I've always kind of liked the Bucks, but first I'll say there is no other team, right? There's just the team you kind of, you tolerate, or so I've kind of always liked the Tampa Bay Bucks, and I'll tell you why, because I lived in Tampa here since 2008, and I have a lot of good friends now that are true Buck fans, and the Bucks always reminded me of the Browns in the sense like they just never won. They weren't good. And so with that, you know, me living here, I always thought they're in another division. They're in the NFC. You know, they don't bother me. I have no beef with them. We play them once every 4 years. I like the Bucks. So when Tom Brady came to town, seeing them win the Super Bowl was actually pretty neat. So, I'm cool with the Bucks. It's like your best friend's friend of a friend. You're like,
You
oh
like
yeah,
that? You like that?
you're friends with Tom, who's friends with Frank. Yeah, we're cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, this was very difficult for me, partly because I knew Chris would be on the show because I did as a kid kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was hard not to.
Oh my!
And then more recently, I kind of like the Baltimore Ravens, which knife through the heart. I mean, this is like
Everyone, you've just witnessed the death of a friendship here.
and then I'm tempted to maybe talk about the Chiefs, which feels that feels kind of tough too because it feels bandwagony. So I think if I had to pick another team, I'd say it's probably going to be. Hey, I think it's got to be. It's got to be the Steelers. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I do have one thing I like. I really like Tomlin. And I was even thinking about another coach that I really always liked was Tony Dungy too. So I mean, that's so it's kind of like I think it's a little bit of the coach that I do
like Dungy, yeah.
and I kept hoping that Tomlin in Pittsburgh would kind of whatever they'd go their separate ways, and then Tomlin would be our coach. That was kind of what I thought. I thought he would be a perfect fit for the defensive lunch bucket mentality of the Bears. The Bears are kind of a blue collar team. Maybe not now, but for years that's kind of how we looked at ourselves. So
yeah. Saying you like Tony Dungy is like saying you like the guy that wears slippers that sings "Won't You Be My Neighbor." What's his name? Everyone
I just like him. I mean, I don't, I hate him as a commentator though. I feel like he gives nothing. Everyone's great. He loves everybody. It's very, very hard for him to say anything negative. All right. So this is the question I've been waiting for. I have a sound drop for this. This is former Great Bear, Mike Singletary.
Cannot play with him. Cannot win with him. Cannot coach with him. Can't do it.
All right. So who do you never want on your team? What is that player that just, if the trade came tomorrow, you would just be sick to your stomach?
Oh man. My son asked me this question that left me in knots. Like I ruined my whole day. This is what my son asked me. He said, Dad, if you got Tom Brady onto the Cowboys and you could guarantee a Super Bowl appearance, all you had to do is have Tom Brady on your team, would you take him? And I was like, I gotta go and it blew my mind. And I wrestled with it all day. And finally I said, no, I would not go to the Super Bowl with Tom Brady because the entire freaking thing would be about Tom Brady, not about the Cowboys. Tom Brady didn't win the Super Bowl. The defense won that last Super Bowl, is in my opinion. So I would not take Tom Brady on my team, even if it led me to the promised land. I'm just saying it right there.
Love it. How about you, Chris?
Excuse me. That's a good one, Vern. I didn't expect that answer. I can see that for sure. For me, the Browns, again, man, the front office, the coaching staff, all on the same page, bringing great people, first time in a long time. So for years, we would bring in cancers into the locker room. So, man, the person that comes to mind for me is like a Juju Smith-Schuster or Antonio Brown.
Yeah. Okay. Well, boy, you got Antonio Brown and Tom Brady on, what did you call it? Your sister's team? You're kissing your sister's friend's team.
It's like your that's right. They both are on the Bucks. It's like your best friend's friend.
Right. Okay. Well, I have one guy. I got to play this sample again because this
cannot play with him.
Cannot play with him.
Cannot win with him.
Can't win with him.
Cannot coach with him.
Can't coach with him. Can't do it.
Who's he talking about?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
He is talking about Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis.
Oh, Vernon Davis.
Vernon Davis did something selfish in a game and was kind of being a jerk. And Singletary said, "Hey, cannot play with this guy." And he was like their best player. And he was like, "I'm going to bench him."
Wow, publicly like that.
And he says, this is a Logger quote. He actually says, I would play with 10 players. You got to play 11 players. I'd play 10 players and get a penalty on every play, then play with a guy like this. He was Mike Singletary.
Wow, yeah.
If you're on YouTube late at night and you want to, not look at anything naughty, do yourself a favor and just watch some Mike Singletary press conferences. He had no filter and was just very intense. Which
is the way he plays as a linebacker for the Bears.
Yeah, he coached like he was a linebacker.
That's good.
So I cannot stand Aaron Rodgers. It's as much PTSD as I have from Packers. There's still a passive part of me that knows Packer fans, kind of even understands their mentality. We've been in the same division for a long time. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like a rivalry, like a brother versus brother kind of rivalry a little bit. Packer fans are not that much different than Bear fans, but I cannot stand Aaron Rodgers. And so talk about Schadenfreude. When he was holding out and it was like front page drama. And then he came back this week and he was on a podcast saying that he last week was still 50-50 about retiring. If I'm a Packers fan,
cannot play with him, cannot win with him, cannot coach with him, can't do it.
I would just be like, cut, just leave.
That must have been such a tough day when you found out he was coming back and everything was fine.
I don't know. The guy, look at his record coming from behind. It's horrible. This guy falls apart when he's behind.
Interesting. I had no idea.
Yeah, look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. It's really crazy. He just starts pouting when things don't go his way. And and every time we play him, I go, if we could just get a lead. If we could just get a couple, maybe a pick early on, first quarter, 14 points up on him, he'll disappear. And he gets mad at his team. And so I cannot stand him. I kind of wish he would retire because I have a feeling he's so acerbic, he's not likable, that as soon as he retires, you won't even hear about him. I don't think he's going to have that Peyton Manning thing where he's going to be all over commercials. There's so many more likable players.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm State Farm, Pat Mahomes or a retired Aaron Rodgers who ends his career crying and being like obstinate. Yeah. Come on. Who is State Farm going to go with? There's so many more great players. Just fun players that are, exciting to root for, care about football. I don't think he cares about football. I think he's excellent at it, but I don't know if it really. I feel like he doesn't have. I mean, you talk about Tom Brady. That guy cares about football. Takes pay cuts to keep to bring talent in. I mean, I don't know. I'd rather have TB than, and I don't really want Tom Brady either, but. I'd rather have him than Aaron Rodgers. I cannot play with that guy.
So we'll see if you have any coaching clients left from the state of Wisconsin after today. Me in the state
listen, I gotta say, if there's any Packer fans out there, you in your heart of hearts, you know what I'm talking about. You root for him, and you might have his jersey, but there's a doubt. You have a doubt now that this guy cares, and he definitely doesn't care about the state of Wisconsin. I don't think.
Did he not learn that from Brett Favre, though? Brett Favre was not far from that as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Okay. So let's two last questions here. This is the smelling salts question. When you finally wake up and your logical brain takes over, who do you really think will be in the Super Bowl in 2022? What two teams are going to be in the Super Bowl? You got to put it on tape. We'll play it back in March of next year or February.
Yeah.
And so one of us is going to look really good and the other two are probably not going to look as good. So,
well, the logical side says Tampa Bay, they're returning all 22 starters, really never been done before by a Super Bowl team. All of the starters are back. You got to give them on the NFC. I hate to say it, Matt, but I would say their runner up would be Green Bay on the NFC side. Whatever. On the other side, I'd say Kansas City. They didn't have a fall off. Their only thing was their offensive line was missing a bunch of guys. They got a brand new guy. Great. So I see Tampa Bay and Kansas City, behind Kansas City, maybe Buffalo, but I see Kansas City coming back, wearing the ring again this year. That's my putting it. I'm not putting anything on the line with those two. If I put $100 down, I might get $100 back because everyone would say those players. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. So for the NFC, yeah, sorry, Matt. The only reason I'm not going to pick the Bucks is because I just think it's hard to go back twice, even though they have all that coming, everybody coming back, which is pretty insane, actually. How long can Brady? I mean, he's 43, 44, which I think is incredible, but just to change it up, I would say Green Bay and same on the other side of the ball, man. No matter how good the Chiefs are, 3 years in a row, man. No, it's been done. The Bills 4 years in a row. But just because I think it's so hard to get back again, I'm going to say the Bills just because I don't want to pick my own team, although I'm still not used to this stuff. And these are just opinions, right? What matters is in January, but Sports Illustrated Online has Cleveland third to go to the Super Bowl, right behind the Bucks in Kansas City. And number 4 is Buffalo. So I'm going to say Buffalo and Green Bay.
But I'm hoping you're right. I'm hoping it's Cleveland over the Bills there.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, Cleveland Bills. That would be the other AFC team that we're like cool with.
Yeah,
there's the Bills and because we're so similar. The cities are similar. Our histories are similar. So.
Hey, Matt, here's the time to bring your cowboy love out. I'm waiting for it.
Well, I definitely don't think the Cowboys are going to pull it together this year. Although it is interesting to see Dak back, and I've been watching Hard Knocks to try to see how good they are. He sat out last week, so
yeah,
it's hard to tell. So we'll see week 1 what it looks like. I would definitely say I think Chiefs go back again. They're just so well coached, and their playmakers are still there. I mean, you still got arguably 3 of the best players at their position in the league, and it's just hard to beat Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to beat. So I definitely think we got them coming out of the AFC. And then guys, we beat the Tampa Bay Bucks last year. We killed them with Mitch Trubisky, and the Packers again. I think they're beatable. I think we can win our division.
The Bears are who we thought they were.
Okay, well, how did that sample get in there?
You got something else in those smelling salts that's bath salts or something.
Here is my scenario, guys, and it might be far fetched. Maybe I still am a little homerish here, but let's say we win our division. Green Bay falls apart due to all their drama. So who do we got to go through? We got to go through Tampa Bay, who we can beat. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to happen any given Sunday. And who else is out there? I mean, the Falcons, Cowboys, maybe Cowboys.
NFC West is pretty strong.
Yeah. So we got 49ers. I like that Arizona team. I mean, you could see one of those guys coming out. So who knows? I mean, I think you got to get into the playoffs, and then at that point, it's a little bit of attrition. Who's healthiest? So that's my thought. So do they win it all? I don't know. Could they beat the Chiefs? That would be a tough order. It's possible though. I mean, they've Cleveland beat the Chiefs right last year.
Remember the Giants
really close, right?
Close. Yeah,
really close.
Real close. Yeah.
Well, you're hoping for one of those things where the Giants got into the playoffs and then hit a roll, like with Eli and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I give us a little more than that. I mean, we were a top 5 defense last year, or maybe not 2 years ago, top 5 defense. So I feel like we have a really good defense still, and let's say that Justin Fields is a difference maker. Maybe we get a couple more games. Who knows? We'll see. I mean, look at what happened to the Chiefs. I mean, we were not talking when Alex Smith was, the quarterback for the Chiefs. We weren't talking about them the same way we talk about them now.
Hey, Matt, do you have the Dreamer on that Super Tramp while you're talking there? Put on there.
We could not clear that. We can't clear these songs here in America. Is Super Tramp a Canadian band, by the way?
Not that I'm aware of. Nope.
Okay. All right. So I should have played like Rush or something when you came on.
Yes,
right,
absolutely.
Right? Limelight or something. Okay. Yeah. All right. And then we could have played what? Cleveland Rocks, or what's a Cleveland song?
Yeah, Cleveland Rocks is a pretty popular one. Actually, the Huey Lewis, Heart of Rock and Roll.
Oh, yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah.
That's a good song. All right, final question, guys. And we got to make this quick. We're way over time. I'm sure we've lost our entire European audience. The Asian audience is gone now. We've lost people in Wisconsin for sure. They've turned it off. Yeah. They've fast forwarded to the next week. Okay, what about guys? This is a coaching question. You guys are all professional coaches. You work with men and women. Well, I don't know. Vern, do you work with women at all? No.
Mostly men.
Mostly men. Okay. So you guys are professional coaches. So which current player or coach embodies kind of like your coaching style? What's a person out there who you're like, hey, you know what? I think he and I kind of have a similar style. Who is it? Who is it that sort of represents you as a coach in the National Football League?
I'll give you a quality, and I don't know enough about Mike Tomlin. I think I've heard this. Here's what I would hope for in a coach. I would hope that I know that a coach really, really cares about me as a player, that he would go to bat for me and care for me as a player, not just, cut me at the first sign of a personal problem or whatever. That would be huge for me. I've heard that about Roger Staubach, for example, going back and picking up some of these NFL players that have fallen on hard times and giving them job opportunities, or come in and just turn their life around from his just giving them second chances. And so I think that quality, I've heard Mike Tomlin is like that as a coach. So, but every player knows that coach really cares about me, as more than just a job. For me, that would be my answer.
Yeah, that's a great answer. That's an interesting question. So I got to keep it in house, I guess. And I would say, Baker Mayfield. And Baker's interesting because he's one of those guys that I think it's still kind of this way nationally. If he's not with you, you probably don't like him, but if he's with you, you love him. And Baker just has that. Determination, that grit, that willingness to see things through, and he's just a leader. He's a good leader. He's the face of the franchise, and I follow him on Twitter. He just does kind and loving, caring things too that you may don't hear about nationally. Like for just a small thing, but the other day at practice, the military was there. They had their own little section, and Baker came over and just thanked them for what they do and thanked them for their service. He said, "We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We're glad that you're here." But really, I think it's his drive, and I approach it the way I run my business, right? In the sense, like that we show up every day and put in the work and just have that grit, right? To stick with it and stay the course, and with the love and compassion as well. Interesting question, yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the guys that comes to mind, and I don't know a lot about his coaching, maybe there's rumors about some of maybe activities that he's done, but I do like Pete Carroll off the field. I don't know if I like him as a coach coaching my team, but I've seen some footage of him, like, walking in central Los Angeles. And, I think I saw a documentary where he was doing some talking to gang members and stuff, and just kind of like, really showing up in a community and doing stuff. So that's one guy who comes to mind. The other guy too is a former Chicago Bear, Ron Rivera, who coaches I almost said it. Oh, I almost said the R word. The Washington football team. Yeah. And I really like him. I thought that was a good guy. I thought that was a great hire, considering that team has had a lot of problems. So I was happy that he is there. And then, the head of football operations was a Brown, Cleveland Brown, Jason Wright. So I like, and he used to go to the church that I go to when he was in college here at Northwestern, and
that's right. He's a running back for the Browns, I think.
Yeah, and I really like him too. He's got a ton of integrity. He's a great guy. So I think I like kind of some of the stuff they're doing there, and hopefully they kind of clean up some of the stuff in the office, the front office there, and kind of get past some of the scandals they've had in Washington. So.
Give me Pete Carroll's energy, boy. If I am, what is he, 75 or something?
Yeah. The thing I like about him, I back to why I like him, is he does have energy. He seems positive, and that's who I want to be as a coach. And I can easily get chatty, and I can get kind of in my own stuff, and so I love that idea of him bringing out the best in people and seeing the best in people and kind of possibility and growth. I mean, that's kind of that's the kind of guy that I like.
Well, when he took so much flack for that Super Bowl play where he didn't give the ball to Marshawn Lynch on the 1 yard line, he handled it great. It was like, well, we made a decision. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
He owned it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think we've done it. We have, this has been a mega episode. Anyone who's still listening, thank you so much. Thank you. Especially if you're not a football fan, I think it would be hard to listen to this show. So we'll be back next week. We got some good shows coming up. We're going to interview Benjamin Hardy, who is an author. And I'm excited about him coming on. We got another author coming on too. Probably in the next few weeks, and I got some other shows planned, so I'm excited to get back to our normally scheduled Porn Free Radio episodes. And with that, I'm gonna play the theme on the way out of here, and read some of our copyright information, just in case someone is wanting to use the descriptions of this podcast somewhere else. I just want to make sure that they know what the rules are. So with that, guys, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Matt, for hosting us
so much. Yeah, this is fun.
This podcast is copywritten by the Porn Free Radio Podcast Network for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this podcast, descriptions, or rooting for the Green Bay Packers is strictly prohibited.
The Bears.